This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hello everybody, welcome to Mike's Mike. My name is Mike and today I will be discussing the marketing ploy by Big Rodent that was releasing 4 animated rodent movies in an 18-month period from May 2006 to December 2007. Specifically, I will be covering Over the Hedge, Flushed Away, Ratatouille, and Alvin and the Chipmunks. I originally intended to also cover G-Force from 2009 and The Nut Job from 2014, but the realization that 4 animated rodent movies came out in an 18-month period shook me to my core so badly that I knew I had to focus on them. I still went ahead and watched G-Force and that movie was insane. It was insane. So I've decided that I will be covering G-Force at the end of this video like a little encore, a little treat. Excuse the setup, like if I'm being real, it's kind of giving like Lion, Witch and Wardrobe. Now I would consider this 06-07 release schedule to be a phenomenon, and the definition of a phenomenon is a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose causal explanation is in question. And I am truly questioning the causal explanation of this. If you look at all the animated movies released in 2006 and 2007, the proportion of rodent to non-rodent movies is kind of crazy. Was there like a rumor that Disney Pixar was going to release an animated rodent movie in 2007? So DreamWorks was like, right people, let's get to work. Let's churn out 2 animated rodent movies in 2006. Everyone's always talking about big tobacco this, big tobacco that, Sydney this and Sydney that, Sydney, Sydney, Sydney. But did anyone think to keep an eye on what Big Rodent was doing? No. And when the humans are away, the rats will play. As in they will press play on one of the 4 animated rodent movies released in an 18-month period between May 2006 and December 2007. Rat stocks reached a new high in 2007 because of this. It's also especially sick and twisted that neither 2006 or 2007 were the year of the rat. 2008 was. There's a suspicious lack of animated rodent movies from 2008. It seems like the only one released in 2008, the year of the rat, is The Tale of Despero. And I don't like the look of him, so I didn't watch it. Before you get all mad, yes, a squirrel is a rodent, so shut up. When I hinted that I was doing this video concept, the girls were like, where's Stuart Little? I don't know, and I don't care where Stuart Little is. I will not be talking about Stuart Little. I actually hate Stuart Little, guys. Like, he genuinely pisses me off. I don't know what happened when I watched it when I was 4, but I was like, Stuart Little, you are no friend of mine. Now, the 4 movies that I'm going to be talking about, they were not created equal. Oh no, absolutely not. So today I'm going to be doing something that needs to be done. I'm going to go through and discuss each and give them all a score so that we can rank the 06-07 rodent agenda and get closure. In terms of standardizing my scoring for each of these movies, I've considered the following in my reviews: plot, animation, cast, jokes, soundtrack, Instagram poll score, the poster, the FF score, and finally societal implications. The Instagram poll score is that I posted each movie on my story and I asked the girls to give a score 1 through 10, and some of the responses were truly eye-opening. The FF score is the Fast and Furious score, which considers how big of a role family plays in the plot of said rodent movie, and if it's executed well or pisses me off. I actually thought I uncovered a marketing ploy by Big Family, because all of these movies have subplots about the importance of family, but then I realized, oh, like these are kids movies, and I get it. They got to make the audience relate to the movie in some way, and they're like, hey kids, family. Right, we all have families? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Right, exactly. Okay, let's start with Over the Hedge, which was released first on May 19, 2006. This movie is fun. It's called Over the Hedge, and there's a hedge, and they go over it. What more could you want? Here's my SparkNotes version of the plot. Raccoon RJ tries to steal a bunch of food from this scary hibernating bear who wakes up, and RJ accidentally destroys the stash. The bear's like, get me my food back or I will literally eat you, and do it in a week, flop. There's a family of woodland animals waking up from hibernation, and they're like, what the fuck is this thing that's cut our forest in half? Enter stage left Miss Hedge. They're stressing because they have to start stockpiling food for the next winter, and now their harvestable area of the forest is suddenly a lot smaller thanks to Miss Hedge. RJ overhears that they're foragers, and he's like, wait a minute, hold on. I could use them to collect all the food I need to pay my debt. Hello, easily manipulated woodland creatures. Let's go over the hedge. The other side of the hedge is a crusty housing development with a bunch of crusty, ugly humans, including Gladys Sharp, who's the head of the Neighborhood Homeowners Association. She catches wind of these animals running around stealing food and commissions this exterminator guy to get rid of them. Meanwhile, RJ, whose name RJ I've convinced myself stands for Raccoon Jones, he's convinced the Woodland family that they need all this human food, even though he's plotting on running away with it all. The leader of the Woodland family, a turtle named Vern, is like, I don't like you, I don't trust you, get out me swamp. But the rest of the family turn on him and are sold by RJ's tactics.
What is that?
The crescendo of the movie is the gang trying to break into Gladys's house before a party to steal all the food, and they have to sneak past all the extermination death traps, including an illegal setup called the Depelter Turbo, as well as having to get past Gladys's Persian cat Tiger. So the mission is a success and they get in and almost get away with all the food, but Raccoon Jones accidentally reveals his true plan to steal the food and give it all to the bear just as Gladys catches them red-handed. RJ escapes, but the rest get captured and caged by the exterminator. RJ takes the food to the bear, but then sees the exterminator truck and decides to use the food to crash into the truck and try to save all his new friends. There's a car chase and fight scenes involving the bear, the exterminator, and Gladys, who end up getting fucked up by the Depelter Turbo. Like, it's bad for them. Look at this shit. There's an excellent squirrel energy drink super speed slow-mo scene. The slow-mo super speed squirrel scene rocked my world in 2006. Gladys ends up being arrested for possessing the Depelter Turbo, and RJ apologizes to the Woodland Squad and they all live happily ever after. It's a bit gorgeous, it's a bit cute. I also think this movie is pretty witty, and it has some good jokes like, teehee, American consumerism.
Humans bring the food, take the food, ship the food, they drive the food.
SUVs with a capacity of 1.
Humans ride around in it because they are slowly losing their ability to walk.
How many humans fit in there?
Usually, 1.
Dr. Phil references.
Just say it out loud. I am a dirtbag.
I don't think that guy's a real doctor.
There were a few times where I was like, what is going on? Why do you have a flip phone with footage of the house cat using its collar to get into the house? Like, in the interest of realism, where did that come from? That being said, I feel like this movie is definitely aged well in terms of jokes and references. The soundtrack has original songs from Ben Folds that match the jokes, like Teehee American Consumerism. The animation is fun, but I wasn't screaming and collapsing like I will be for Ratatouille. The poster here has them literally going over the hedge, so let's celebrate that. I would say the Fast and Furious family score is high here.
Family.
RJ doesn't have a family, and then he portrays his new family to serve himself, but then he realizes the importance of family.
Family.
I like the voice cast. I didn't think, wow, that's not what I thought a turtle would sound like. It's all believable in that sense. Like, yes, Bruce Willis is a raccoon. That's so true. It's worth noting that Avril Lavigne voices a possum, which gifted us this moment in time. We also have Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara as porcupine parents, which is kind of crazy because they end up being a married couple in Schitt's Creek. The Instagram poll results for Over the Hedge were very positive. Lots of 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. I do think the 10s are kind of crazy, like, you could back up a little bit. All things considered, I think my score for Over the Hedge is 7.1 out of 10. There's a pretty crazy implication at the end when the squirrel Hammy runs into the camera.
I found my nuts! Ooh.
Does this mean that the camera was there the whole time and they were aware of it and thus unbothered by it? Does that mean that they were actors? Was it all a set? What's going on, you guys? I'm scared. Next up is Flushed Away, which was released in December 2006. This movie is so bruh. Like, it's literally BRUH, like, it's bruh. Based on the Instagram responses, a lot of you think that Flushed Away is that girl, but I'm not convinced that Flushed Away is that girl. We have another excellent title, Flushed Away. Like, yes, he does get flushed away multiple times. Apparently, this was originally a rodent sewer love story called Ratropolis, and I kind of love that. Ratropolis, like, I would live in Ratropolis. I do live in Ratropolis. Now, let's quickly discuss the CGI elephant in the room. Unfortunately, I'm not obsessed with the animation in this movie. I don't like it. It's made by the same people who made Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, which have excellent stop motion using plasticine, but water damages plasticine, so they couldn't do this sewer movie like they made those ones, so this one's all CGI. They still have the same kind of character designs like Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, which I think was a bad idea because my brain kept wanting the rats to be plasticine, but they're not. They're just not. Now, this Roddy St. James rat is apparently based off Maddie Healy, question mark. Apparently his mum is Denise Welch, which, first of all, did not know that. Denise Welch's godfather is one of the guys that wrote Flushed Away, and young teenager Maddie Healy is the inspiration for Roddy St. James. Like, what? I was kind of screaming at this. Was he just like, yeah, my goddaughter, her son, he's kind of rat-like, so let's base this character off him. So Roddy is a pet rat to a rich family, and he's living lavish. To quote Iggy, it's acres without the neighbors. A sewer rat named Sid breaks in via sink, and it's like, wait, this setup is insane. I'm not going to leave. And he's pulled up the FIFA World Cup on the TV, and it's just great. Roddy tries tries to flush intruder Sid down the toilet, but instead Sid flushes him and he ends up in Ratropolis. Yes, Ratropolis is fun, but also pisses me off. Why are there electric screens a la Times Square? Where is the realism? At least in Over the Hedge, all the technology existed in the human realm, so it makes sense that it exists in the first place. Anyway, Roddy wants to get back to Kensington, which is where he lives, and apparently a scavenger named Rita Malone is the rat for the job. But drama, Rita has stolen a priceless ruby jewel from crime boss the Toad, and Rita and Roddy get snatched and have to escape the Toad's lair. In the process, stealing back the jewel and also snatching an electric master cable that's used to open Ratropolis' sewer floodgates. The big villain, the Toad, is so random. He's got a room of like royals memorabilia. Roddy works out that the priceless ruby jewel is actually fake and smashes it to prove his point, and Rita's like, oh, you what? So Roddy's like, babes, get me back to Kensington, I'll give you one of my owner's real jewels, yeah. On their journey, they go to Rita's family's house, and Roddy's like, wait, you're all dirty and poor, but maybe having a family would be nice. Now the Toad wants his electric master cable back, so he sends his French hitman cousin LaFrog and his assassins after Roddy and Rita. You might be asking, why does the Toad want the master cable? He has a diabolical plan. During halftime of the World Cup final, when everyone gets up to go to the toilet, he's going to open the floodgates and kill all the rats and repopulate the sewers with his tadpoles. You might have a follow-up question, why does he want to kill all the rats? Turns out he was Prince Charles's pet frog who was suddenly replaced by a pet rat and capital F flushed down the toilet. So he's actively anti-rat and wants them all gone by any means necessary. Roddy and Rita evade LaFrog and make it to his Kensington casa, where Roddy gives Rita the jewel and she works out that he's a lonely pet rat. She tries to invite him to come back with her and stay with her family, but he doesn't want to admit that he's lonely, so he's like, psh, I don't need you. I don't need y'all anyway. That's 2 Iggy Azalea references. So Rita leaves and gets kidnapped, and the Toad takes the master cable, and plan kill all the rats is a go. Roddy's watching the World Cup with Sid and realizes what's about to happen, so he asks Sid to take over his rich rat lifestyle and also asks Sid to flush him so he can go save all the rats, which he does by freezing the World Cup shart water with liquid nitrogen, and he ends up living down in the sewers with Rita happily ever after. Okay, so this plot is ridiculous, and I have to recognize that in a positive lens. Like, yes, it is original and it is fun. Like, what do you mean there's a pissed off ex-royal Toad that wants to kill all the rats via World Cup shart water? That is just excellent. The concept is solid, but unfortunately I was not gagged by the execution. The jokes in this movie kind of had me like, oh, they make a Finding Nemo joke and there's a drawing of Squidward on Rita's dad's cast and what looks like a Lego head on the enemy boat. Like, hello? Do you have the rights to be doing that? There's one scene where an albino henchman rat voiced by Bill Nye is talking about eating something spicy and says,
I can feel it in my guts.
That'll be last night's curry, Spike. I've got a bum like a Japanese flag.
what in the... There's this running joke where Roddy tries to say that he's an innocent bystander.
I'm an innocent bystander.
And everyone thinks that he's saying his name is Millicent Bystander.
I believe he said his name was Millicent Bystander.
And it goes for the whole movie. It's so stupid, but it's funny to me.
Hooray for Millicent Bystander.
The cast on this movie is insane. Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet, Ian McKellen, Bill Nye. I really truly did not know that Hugh Jackman voiced Maddie Healy Rat. And I was like, whoa. I will say that even though Kate Winslet voices Rita, to me, she's still kind of Emily Blunt coded. Now this poster, I am unfortunately enraged by the font. It's giving Impact. Did you not have a font license to get something a little bit more fun? A bit silly? Like, guys, let's get silly. This poster's kind of fun. Like, something's going down. Hee. Get it? He's about to get flushed. Perhaps in an away direction. The soundtrack? Old people music. Sorry. The Fast and Furious family score is high in this one.
Family.
Like, he leaves his Maddie Healy rat life to go live with Ratty Rita and her 10,000 siblings, like family. Family. So to summarize, super fun concept, fun jokes, insane implications, annoying animation, slightly disappointing execution, bad font choice, and old people music. 6.4 out of 10. Next up is Ratatouille. Now, guys, let's be so fucking serious right now. Ratatouille is an amazing movie. It's no secret that I love this movie. I've talked about it a bunch of times on my channel, and because I've spoken about it so much, I'm not going to go too much into the plot, but I'll read the synopsis from Letterboxd, on which I've given it 5 stars. A rat named Remy dreams of becoming a great French chef despite his family's wishes and the obvious problem of being a rat in a decidedly rodent-phobic profession. When fate places Remy in the sewers of Paris, he finds himself ideally situated beneath a restaurant made famous by his culinary hero, Auguste Gusteau. Despite the apparent dangers of being an unlikely and certainly unwanted visitor in the kitchen of a fine French restaurant, Remy's passion for cooking soon set into motion a hilarious and exciting rat race that turns the culinary world of Paris upside down. It's just so good. I love the voice work. It's not famous people for the sake of having famous people. I love the soundtrack. Hey, Michael Giacchino, best friend. How you going? This soundtrack is my 52nd most streamed album of all time. This is very serious. I don't know if you guys are understanding that. The Fast and Furious family score is high. Family. But Remy doesn't have to sacrifice his dreams for his family, and he manages to Hannah Montana Ari best of both worlds, so we love that. The poster, iconic, show-stopping, spectacular. Are you kidding me? Kind of unsure if this is the poster or if this one was. This one's also good, but also kind of compared to the knife one. I would give this movie a 10 out of 10. I would do it, but I can't because I have to deduct 0.4 purely because of the accents. I don't get it. Remy and his family live in France, but they have American accents. If anything, they're kind of giving Italian American accents, like they're kind of serving NYC rat, but then everyone else speaks English with a French accent, except for Linguini, who has an American accent. Why? The reason is probably so the predominantly American audience would be like, I love the American rat and I love the American protagonist. Like, I see you and I hear ya. But yeah, the non-French rat thing bothers me. Also the fact that Remy surfaces in Paris and he didn't know that he was living under Paris. Babe, what? So 0.4 point deduction, 9.6 out of 10. If you haven't seen Ratatouille, get over yourself and go add value to society by going and watching it. The last movie in our 06-07 animated rodent quartet is Alvin and the Chipmunks. Don't piss me off. 3 out of 10 and I'm being generous. CGI Alvin pisses me off. The little outfits piss me off. The implication that they're running around half clothed, not even the half that matters. They're just running around, flashing the entire world. This poster pisses me off. Alvin's little fucking attitude pisses me off. Why have you got such a little fucking attitude? Like, what is your problem? The plot pisses me off. It's just rehashed kids movie blah blah, give me money, yum, cash, cash, box office. However, the songs? Excellent. 10 out of 10. Great job, team. Chipmunks singing Bad Day, Witch Doctor, Funky Town. Let's celebrate that. The only way that the soundtrack could get better is by adding the Chipettes, which is what happens in the Squeakquel and in Chipwrecked. The Squeakquel being called the Squeakquel. Don't piss me off. I kind of think that the Chipettes are one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. Just remember that they run around with their chussies out. Also, this being the OG Chipmunks voice cast is insane. Like, what? Everyone on Instagram seemed to agree with the 3 out of 10 score, so that's that. Would you believe that I've actually made a full video on the Chipmunks movies, so feel free to go ahead and watch that. In that video, I do focus on the best/most diabolical one, which is Chipwrecked. So our order from worst to best is Alvin and the Chipmunks, 3 out of 10. Flushed Away, 6.4 out of 10. Over the Hedge, 7.1 out of 10. Ratatouille, 9.6 out of 10. I think that scoring is fair and real. Now, let's get into our encore for this video, our secret song, if you will, G-Force from 2009. It must be spoken about. This movie is insane. The first 10-ish minutes of the movie are so promising. Like, they're a squad of genetically modified FBI-trained guinea pigs infiltrating appliance CEO Bill Nye's house to get some super top secret information off his computer. Like, come on, heist. Pink, misunderstood 2001. Let's get the party started. Also, the fact that this is the second animated rodent movie to have Bill Nye in it. So on the computer, the G-Force see this file that implies Bill Nye wants to activate an evil chip inside all his appliances to kill everyone on the planet. So G-Force steal the file to show the FBI boss. Like, come on now, that is excellent. But then the plot goes to shit because the new FBI boss finds out that this department has been training rodents as agents and he's not that impressed. He's like, oh my god, they can talk, that's crazy. Anyway, you're fired. I don't like that. So then the G-Force have to escape and end up at Niecy Nash's pet shop, blah blah blah. They need to escape, blah blah blah. There's a psychotic Steve Buscemi hamster that tries to murder them, blah 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 blah. They need to secretly get the band back together so they can stop Anna Wintour's boyfriend Bill Nye from literal genocide. But then the plot twist is crazy because it turns out the real mastermind behind everything is Bill Nye's business partner Yanshu, who turns out to be someone on the G-Force.
I can't believe the mole was the mole.
Yes, the Caleb Rivers hacker mole is the bad guy. He wants to create these giant transformer not transformers to drive humans underground so that they know what it feels like to be exterminated. He kind of spilled a little bit. Just a little bit. He ate that one thing. Literally insane plot twist though. I feel like they used a random plot generator. The animation / CGI, however, I was taken aback. Several G's of force. I was like, it's so good. Like, what the hell? This looks excellent. I would genuinely give the CGI in G-Force a 9.5 out of 10. Like, how does this look better than the last 5 Marvel movies that have come out? The cast of this movie is stacked, and for what? Nicolas Cage, Penelope Cruz, Sam Rockwell, Zach Galifianakis. You might think that I would give points for big names alone, but no. I respect the voiceover craft. The only character that I was like, yes, was Penelope Cruz. I feel like they didn't need everyone else to be such big names other than to sell tickets, which is usually the case with voiceovers, but this time it felt especially egregious. I couldn't even tell that Nicolas Cage was in it because he had this voice changer thing happening, and not in a Chipmunk's 10 million units sold first week Billboard 200 #1 album voice changer kind of way.
Look out, I'm feeling tippy-top.
And that pissed me off. Jokes wise, I wasn't laughing. Half the conversations seem to be about who gets to date the Penelope Cruz hamster, and it's so jobless and unfunny. And when the random pet shop guinea pig Hurley turns up, I was like, oh, you're so unfunny. I hope you don't end up being a main character. Oh. When he fake dies at the end of the movie, I was like, would it have been so bad if it was real? And then the soundtrack is so bizarre. They have some bangers in there like Just Dance, but it feels like they had the budget for 3 hit songs, so they just used the same 3 songs throughout the whole movie. And there's like random boom boom pow every second scene. It's just whiplashable. Great weapons that were used unwisely. The poster of G-Force is kind of slay, but also so random. Like, why are you in the desert? And why is that fuck-ass guinea pig Hurley on the poster? It's dark-sided and evil. Just a whack movie, okay? When Penelope Cruz guinea pig was posted on Facebook, I was like, oh, this is going to be a 9 out of 10. But then they fumbled the bag so severely and it got so clown and so annoying. And it also annoys me how good the animation is. You know what? I'm going to downgrade from 3 to 2.5 out of 10. It's just outrageous. Wow. What a roller coaster. Guys, at least we have closure. We have closure. Shout out to Big Rodent. You know, it's been 16/17 years since this happened, this phenomenon, so maybe it's time to do it again. Thanks for watching, and if you disagree with my faultless and 100% correct scores, feel free to let me know in the comments. Leave me a like, hit that subscribe button. And now, give it up for today's 10 out of 10 sponsor, Squarespace. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace gives you a powerful online platform from which you can create your own website and make your idea, brand, or business really stand out. Squarespace has a huge library of professional website templates with designs for every category and use case, so you'll definitely find the one, capital T, capital O. Then you can customize your look, update content, and add features to fit exactly what you want to do on your site. It'll look gorge and stand out on every device. With Squarespace's Fluid Engine, which is their next-gen website design system, customizing the template is as easy as dragging and dropping on desktop and mobile. I could be dragging and dropping right now. If you're looking to set up an online store, Squarespace has all the tools you need, whether you're selling physical, digital, or service products. And if you were looking to make a website to present your work, you could use one of Squarespace's portfolio designs to display projects in customizable galleries, and even set up some password-protected pages to share private work with clients. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MikesMike, that's MIKESMIC, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video.